Hi there team, Coach Alexa here. So following on from last week's video about looking after your running kit and particularly waterproof running kit, I thought I'd do a specific video about running shoes because that's just a slightly different kettle of fish. So let's start off by talking about, I guess, kind of road running shoes. So shoes that aren't, waterproof, don't have any sort of technical or Gore-Tex style fabric to keep the water out. Just your kind of average fabric topped or mesh topped shoes that you might be wearing on the road or on the trail. So as I was watching earlier, the rain go sideways outside my window. We are tending at this time of year to get our footwear that little bit more muddy, dirty, wet when we're going out and about. And so there are a couple of things that you might want to look at doing when you get back. So if your shoes are particularly muddy, it is definitely worth either giving them a little bit of a rinse off with some clean water, or having a brush or something where you can just brush the worst of the mud and debris off them. It will really help not get that technical fabric of the uppers and the interior of the shoe too kind of clogged up with muck, basically, which will stop the fabrics from performing as effectively as they should. It will also mean that they'll dry out a little bit quicker. So you can get and in fact, I've got stuff for my dog, which I also use on my shoes. So I've got a paw buddy, which is like a squeezy water bottle with a brush on the end. So you squeeze it and water comes out and you can use the brush to get the mud off your dog and or your boots and shoes. And also having a little bit of, or a bottle of water by the door, just a sports bottle, you can squeeze water and get the worst off. And then also a towel. So I have a muddy dog towel by the door, which is used for the dog. And then also for just pat drying, getting a little bit of the moisture out of the shoes. Leaving your shoes then somewhere warm but not hot and with a good ventilation to dry. So not sticking them in a cupboard where they're not going to get that airflow and they'll just go a bit musty and horrible. But also not putting them next to a direct heat source like a really hot radiator or a fire. A lot of the materials used in running shoes are plastic. They start melting at relatively low temperatures, so you don't want to damage the fabric. So somewhere that's warm in the corner of a room or a hallway where you're going to get a bit of airflow and a little bit of kind of, I guess, room temperature warmth from your house. It's also a good excuse to have more than one pair of road shoes or more than one pair of trail shoes. So if you've gone out and got them absolutely soaking and muddy on one day, they're probably not going to be completely dry by the following morning. You can run in a different pair of shoes, nicer, drier feet, and also it gives the chance for that shoe to get completely dry before you wear them again. If a pair is never quite dry in between wears, that's ideal conditions for bacteria to start to grow, which makes the shoes smell and also isn't great for some of the chemicals, adhesives and plastics that holds the shoe together. So to keep them lasting longer, make sure there are periods where they are drying out and all those bacteria can't survive in perfectly dry conditions. When it comes to more technical shoes, and by that I mean ones that have a waterproof sort of setup in them, and so these ones, the outers are made of Gore-Tex. You need to just have a little extra step, I guess, in your care for these type of shoes. So actually, one other little cleaning tip: these were filthy about a week ago, and I went out for a bit of a walk in them with the dog in a field with long grass that was quite soaked after a rain shower, and just taking them for a walk or a run in a nice grassy area can really clean them up quite nicely. Anyway, so every now and again, so over the winter, maybe every couple of months, I would give them a good sort of very thorough clean post-run. I would let them completely dry out, and then I would follow the instructions on a spray and a bottle of waterproofing spray. So this is used for, the Nikwax one is used for fabric and leather, so things like Gore-Tex. These shoes, my synthetic walking boots, my leather walking boots, I use it on all of them to give them another re-waterproofing membrane because it will eventually wear out, wash off, and it just gives them that little bit of extra lease of life. So like anything, follow the care labels. If they've come with instructions, some more technical sort of trail shoes have got leather components to them as well, rarely, but sometimes. So have a look at the care instructions for your particular types of shoes and just, give them a little bit of TLC and absolutely don't, because I've heard of a few occasions of people doing this, put them in the washing machine. Please don't put them in the washing machine. That's dreadful for shoes. The temperature, the clattering around, the sort of the come out all misshapen, and it will start to damage the adhesive nibs holding the shoes together, some of the technical fabrics in there. So yeah, a little bit of a hand wash, gentle brush, give them a rinse off, keep them dry as much as you can, and they will look after you for a little bit longer if you look after them. Hope that's helpful.